This is the Dallas Morning News.
It's Monday, February 16th, starting the day off with some fog in the DFW area. Once that burns off later this morning, it will be mostly sunny with a high of 75, partly cloudy this evening with a low of 55. Here are today's headlines. Many Texans may remember the bitter 1990 Democratic primary for governor when Jim Maddox alleged Ann Richards was treated for cocaine addiction and once frolicked in a hot tub with comedian Lily Tomlin. Richards countered by hinting Maddox had been involved in shady deals and challenging his ethics and finances. And she called Mark White, the former governor, a crook who had lined his pockets. Richards won the nomination and then went on to defeat Republican Clayton Williams, becoming the last Democratic governor in Texas. For those who lived through it, the contrast with this year's Senate race is stark. Lisa Turner, who worked on Richards' campaign and now is state director of the Lone Star Project, a political action committee that supports Democrats, said the match between U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett of Dallas and State Representative James Talarico of Austin is kittens and rainbows compared to that brutal primary. Still, she said, at the end of the day, Democrats came together to beat the Republican, and she fully expects that will happen this time around. While the March 3rd Crockett-Talarico face-off is far less contentious, crosscurrents could complicate the party's ability to rally around the eventual nominee. While Crockett and Talarico are not hurling insults at each other, their supporters, especially online, have been bickering over the candidates' perceived failings, with some of the exchanges tinged with racial overtones, even if unintentional. Talarico also has been accused by a social media influencer of making a racially insensitive remark, which he denies. It's hardball, but not quite the hot tub, drugs, and gutter politics of 1990. In other news, after more than a decade atop Texas agriculture policy, longtime Commissioner Sid Miller is facing a rare, fully loaded Republican revolt. Governor Greg Abbott and GOP power players are lining up behind political newcomer Nate Sheets in the March 3rd primary, turning what is usually a low-drama statewide post into a high-stakes fight. The 70-year-old Miller is seeking a fourth term after 12 years as agriculture commissioner and another dozen in the Texas House. Once known for touting his 22 World Championship rodeo titles, he now finds himself under pressure from former allies who say Texas agriculture needs a reset. Sheets, a beekeeper and businessman and first-time candidate, has quickly become the establishment-backed alternative. He has picked up endorsements from Abbott, former Agriculture Commissioner Susan Combs, the Texas Farm Bureau's political arm, and several Republican state senators. The governor has accused Miller of a history of corruption and questioned his honesty, while Sheets' other supporters have leaned heavily into his outsider credentials. Abbott's corruption jab appears tied to Miller's former chief of staff, Todd Smith, who pleaded guilty to commercial bribery connected to hemp licenses issued by the Agriculture Commission. Next up, a 51-year-old woman died Friday when she was stabbed in the neck by her son following a domestic altercation in Fort Worth. That's according to police and the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office. Mirlanda Cyprian was found dead at a residence in the 4800 block of Cargill Circle Friday evening as officers responded to a call. It was determined a domestic incident occurred between Cyprian and her 21-year-old son, Malachi Cyprian. The son was found nearby and taken into custody. Police said Malachi was also taken to a hospital for possible self-inflicted wounds. And if you daydream about getting a break from work, you might picture 2 weeks of vacation or a long weekend getaway. But some are daring to imagine something bigger and are finding ways to get a substantial breather from stress or their day-to-day routines. Mini-sabbaticals, adult gap years, micro-retirement, extended career breaks go by many names and they take many forms, from using the time between jobs to explore or taking an employer-approved leave to becoming a digital nomad or saving up for a months-long adventure. Creating space for a reset, whether mental, physical, or spiritual, is the common thread. Cost, personal responsibilities, and fears of being judged by colleagues, friends, and family members are some of the obstacles that prevent people from hitting the pause button. But more companies are allowing weeks or months of paid or unpaid leave as a way to retain valued employees. Thanks for listening. For more on today's stories and the latest breaking news, visit dallasnews.com. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from the Dallas Morning News.